All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Leader 13, as we're preparing to get underway for our XRL X2 tier division race at Singapore. X2 is a very fascinating and unexpected event, as a bunch of drivers came very close to running out of fuel, but in the end, it was Schumacher who won that event. He won't be running in this run, though. It's going to be a shorter field, only 14 entrants, so Q1 will be basically a glorified practice session. But we're prepared to get underway here for our round at Singapore. Small field. We'll be interested to see who goes out there and sets quick lap times, who's going to be holding back and what here. Also of note, in X3, there was rain in the first half of Q2, but it was dry outside of that. Rain here, though, can be extremely treacherous. All right, here we are, folks, on track. Waiting to see who the first person to get out running will be. 14 drivers, so everyone, as long as they set a time, will advance to the next round by default. So the first driver out on circuit, way ahead of everyone else, is SRD Shredder in the Haas. What in the devil? Why do I have no audio all of a sudden? Oh, yeah, that was weird. Yeah, for a moment, I had no audio. The stream did, but I didn't. UFR Luke is the second driver to come out on circuit. But a much more staggered start to qualifying round one here than what we were anticipating. Again, all you really have to do is just go out there, set a single lap, and then you're guaranteed a spot in Q2. We now see Ferrari and McLaren coming out on circuit. That would be XRL Dave and Stone Shuffle. AlphaTauri coming down the line. That would be XRL Edgar, who's jumping onto the circuit now. And then behind him will be Shikari. Shikari, who had been nice enough to join me in the broadcasting booth for the X3 race earlier today, actually going to take some lessons he learned from watching that race and try to apply them here. As Shredder comes down across the line to begin his first flying lap. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go silent for a lap. I'm right on board with UFRL Luke as he begins his flying lap shortly here. See what he can do in the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo punched way above their weight in X3. What can Luke do in the same manufacturer in X2? Let's see. So Luke hits the wall on his first initial flying lap. We'll end up right on board with someone else, I guess, then. Dave has completely lost his front wing at the start of his flying lap in the turn 1, 2, 3 complex. So he'll have to very carefully snake his way around the circuit to get a more proper run in. It's not going to help him whatsoever. Shikari in the middle as Shredder sets the time that everyone's going to be chasing for initially, 140.913. Bunch of drivers such as Pelly and CMP Official now coming out onto the circuit, along with XRL Flavor trying to come out, make something happen here. Stone Shuffle in the middle of his lap right now. He's looking like he will be the second driver to set a time in this session. Considering it's 18 minutes and we've already gone through 5 of them, the fact that only one driver has been able to set a time thus far is really odd, but these are relatively long lap times. A in-lap, flying lap, and out-lap setup will take up over 5 minutes, about 5 minutes roughly, as Stone Shuffle goes to the top with 39.873. We're going to go ahead and run on board with the Mercedes of CMP Official for his initial flying lap. See what he can pull out in the Mercedes machine. We'll ride on board with him shortly. We'll ride on board with him now for a flying lap here around Singapore. An Official who is running on medium tires at the moment. It's a 140.212. Interesting though to me is XRL Dave. This man went ahead and set his first flying lap on hard tires with no front wing, 215.7, and that's going to get him into the next round because we only have 14 people here. This is XRL Edgar in the middle of an outlap, as is UFRL Luke after he hit the wall and just gave up on his initial lap. Airmax also running. He is going to try and set his lap on the medium tires. Again, you're not required to be running alternate tire compounds, but a lot of drivers are going to do it here because they can use an alternate tire here, go ahead, pit, record that time, and then they'll have all their soft tires still available in the race itself. Now, Dave might be going a little bit crazy trying to do hards because you're only given one set of hards over a race weekend. But everyone who's down on the mediums, like Official, Flavor, Shikari, and Pelly, they're all good because they'll have another set of fresh mediums that they can choose to use in the race itself. This Aeromax now beginning his lap. But right now, only one man has broken the 140 barrier. It's a 139.8 for Stone Shuffle. Whole time in X2 and X3 was in the 138s. We won't really see if anyone can really hit that, though, I imagine, until we get to Q3. Really reserved session, honestly. Robbie Deasy still in pit lane. Has not yet attempted to come out on track and get a lap going here. Oh, and Edgar has had a spin in the final corner just as he was about to start his flying lap. Oh, and Airmax has crashed out! And Airmax has crashed out! And Airmax, with an accident, will not be able to run and fight in Q2 or Q3. Pelly and Dave retire in the pits. They know that they don't have to worry about turning any more laps. UFR Luke's invalidated that lap, but he gets another shot at it. He has enough fuel for another go. Edgar, who spun on his initial right before starting his lap, he's underway. All right, and coming in at party now is Airmax. Max, go ahead, include your audio. Big accident there at the end of Sector 2. What happened? All right, well, the question now is, it's not a very large field, only 14 drivers. Do you think you have a car under you that can survive to the end of the race, and do you think you can get into the points? All right, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. It's a shame to see you knocked out like this. All right, so on track, Edgar has aborted his lap and come back into the pits. Robbie Deasy still has yet to come out to try and set a lap. UFR Luke is on Wes, his third different attempt on a lap right now. Only 8 of our 14 drivers have set times. One of them will not get a chance to set a time, period. Zola, also in the middle of a lap right now. He is on the medium tires. Not really even utilizing his ERS either. All right, for Luke, finally, it's taking him 3 attempts, but he will get a lap in, and will go up to 4th, 140.876 here. 3rd fastest of everyone on the softs. Lowe coming out of the final corner in the McLaren, he will set a 142.167. So it's up to Edgar, Robbie Deasy, and Zola to set their times. Zola out of the final corner. I don't know why you're using this camera angle. Oh, okay, Zola. I don't know why you jumped onto the brakes like that, but 145.149 is the time he will set. So now it's just a matter of waiting on Edgar and Robbie Deasy. In pit lane, we're seeing a Mercedes come out, but that is not Deasy. That is CMP official who is coming back out onto the circuit. Not really sure what's going on there. In the AlphaTauri camp, I'm seeing movement, and that will likely be Edgar. Yes, that is XRL Edgar coming out to get a lap in. Again, you set a lap, you're advancing into the next round of qualifying. This is basically a glorified practice session. And if it was me, I would throw on a set of soft tires, load the car up with as much fuel as I got, and see what the car feels like under a heavy fuel load with the soft tires if my strategy has softs in the cards. If not, then I'd do the same thing with mediums. Load the thing up with fuel and just turn lap after 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 lap until either I crash the car or the session ends. Dave has crashed No, he's not crashed out. He's just retired in the pits. Never mind. That was Lowe who had moved aside to let Zola pass. I believe Zola is going to be coming into the pits, though, here. And now we're seeing Mercedes movement in pit lane. That will be Robbie Deasy. Wait until nearly the last possible minute to get out and get a lap in this session. And now we see XRL Lowe coming into the pits, as does Zola. So only 3 cars on track at the moment. CMP official, Edgar, and Robbie Deasy. Officials already set a time, 140.212, but my guess is that he wants to go a bit faster. Here comes Edgar now to the line. Out of the final corner, begin his lap. Utilizing the soft tires, so full gripping. He's laying already on the ERS. Brakes hard going into this 1-2-3 complex in northernmost part of the track. Whips it around, and now on the run down to the 90-degree corner, that's past the DRS detection zone. Then after this corner, onto the longest and fastest straightaway in the game. Accelerating, DRS enabled, ERS being laid on. At the end of the straight, what's his top speed going to be? 185. Brakes early so that way he can make the corner nice and cleanly without running into the wall or spinning the car off the outside curb. Now goes to sector 2. A series of higher than 90-degree corners, and then another short straight into another left-hander, and then a series of not quite S's. They have the back and forth nature of S's, but they're not of anything close to consistency. Also sends you over the bridge. At the end of it, you come around onto the final DRS zone of the circuit. You lay the power down, pop up the DRS, and lay on the ERS again. At the end of sector 2, 106.903, another tighter than 90-degree corner. It's a run with a very, very small bend to the left, and then just a series of 90-degree corners to the end of this race here. To the end of the lap here, not to the end of this race. And now the final corner, here comes Edgar to the line. 141.448 for Deasy, who is still in sector 2. It'll be a little longer until we see what time he sets. But with just a bit more than a minute left on the clock, official, Edgar, and Deasy, the only 3 drivers on track. Everyone else is already retired in the pits. Through the 90-degree corners. .350 for Robbie Deasy. And that will pretty much bring an end to the session. CMP official low on fuel, so he'll be bringing it into the pits. Robbie Deasy and Edgar still on track, but Edgar also low on fuel. And that will bring us to an end here for our first round of qualifying. 13 drivers will be fighting for the top 10 positions in Q2. So there's your end results at the end of the first round qualifying. It looks pretty obvious to me, at least, that CMP Official and Robbie DZ will likely be fighting with Ferrari of Stone Shuffle for pole position if nothing bizarre happens. Alright, so round 2, 13 drivers fighting for 10 spots. There is already movement in the Mercedes camp. The first driver to get out onto the circuit, though, it looks like is going to be Red Bull of XRL Zola, I believe. No, it is not actually. It is the McLaren. It is the McLaren of XRL Low who will be the first driver out onto the track. Look at that gaggle of cars. Everyone right on top of each other pretty much in this exit from pit lane. Thankfully, this is a relatively large track, so there'll be plenty of time for everyone to spread out a bit. But the man who's going to set the time everyone's going to be chasing will be this here, XRL Low, and it's XRL Dave, his teammate, who is the next closest man to him, second on track. There's about 3/4, about 2/3, 3/4 of our grid all come out pretty much at the same time. The only driver still in pit lane, XRL Edgar, Robbie DZ, XRL Flavor, and XRL Zola. And all those drivers who had set their laps on mediums or, in McLaren's case, hard tire compounds, small advantage. You'll have more sets of softs that they can utilize here. Oh, did Low hit the wall? I don't know if Low hit the wall there, and if he did, if there's going to be any damage to that machine. Check this out, though. Shredder got caught up right behind the Mercedes. This is going to compromise his lap very significantly here. He can't really back up a whole lot because there's a Red Bull just behind. He'll back off a little bit and then try to get a good sling out of the final corner. Ooh, wow, Luke really close to the wall there. So everyone on track now except for the Mercedes of Robbie DZ. And that means that the circuit's very, very crowded at the moment. More crowded now than I think it ever was at any one point in Q1. A bunch of drivers will be crossing the line almost one right after another to set the times. But first up, the McLarens are going to set times of 142.355 at the top, followed up by Dave, matching Lowe with a 141.593. Here comes the Mercedes. Official goes to the top, 39.570. Shredder, 140.748. Now we see Shikari to the top, 39.055. Luke on the medium tires, 140.512. Here comes the AlphaTauri. And Edgar is not able to set a lap there. What about Pelly? 137! 137.861. That's the fastest lap we've seen thus far this weekend. Stone Shuffle will be next across the line. 139.357. So none of our 13 drivers have already set times. Javis Johnson at 43.202 after he had what looked like a spin at the end of his lap coming out of the final corner. Flavor in the middle of a flyer, as is Edgar. Flavor, an X3 driver. In the past, he's been known to do Dev, Realistic, X2, and X3 races all in the same weekend. And he's doing something similar to that now. Realistic isn't enabled at the moment, but Flavor is running 3 different events. Brought home a points-paying finish in the X3 race. Would love to see what he can pull off here in X2. Maybe not a very strong qualifier, but he's very good at keeping his nose clean in the race and bringing home some miraculously strong results. For the Aston Martin team, that would be great news for them when it comes to their Manufacturers' Championship standings. Robbie Deasy finally on an out lap. Going to try and set a lap, hopefully, I imagine, at a time when the circuit's relatively clean and there's not a whole lot of action on it. But at the moment, Pelly has a 1.2 second advantage over the next place driver, Shikari. And closer to a 1.5 second advantage over Stone Shuffle, who is third fastest at the moment. So Pelly looking very confident at the top of the sheets. At the moment, here comes Flavor out of the final corner. He'll be the 11th driver to set a time. It will be a 140.571. That's good enough for 7th at the moment. So the focus now goes to Zola as he goes through Sector 3. There's a slow Mercedes ahead of him. He'll overtake him without issue. And coming down to the start-finish line, XRL Zola putting the power down. He will set a time of 140.218. That's good enough for 6th. So at the moment, McLaren's in the hot seat. Lowe in 10th with a 42.355 is on the bubble with Edgar and James John on the outside looking in, and we're still waiting to see what Robbie Deasy can do as well. Lowe has already responded. He's coming out onto the circuit trying to improve his lap time. The spread from the top to bottom is 5.5 seconds roughly. 5.4 seconds to be a little bit more accurate. Edgar, I believe he's just on a cooldown lap right now. But he will likely have to come back out if he wants to take a serious swing at this. .750, Robbie Deasy. And the last driver to set a time in the session, he is going to set a 139.597. That's good enough for 5th. So Lowe is on the outside looking in, and Dave is now on the bubble. Lowe has already responded. He's on the circuit now on a warm-up lap and is about to start flying. There's a lot of other drivers now beginning to come out on the circuit. This is the interesting one, though. UFR Luke set his initial time on the medium tires. Now he has moved over to softs. So we have every reason to believe that Luke is going to improve his time significantly. I think it's Shredder, Zola, and Flavor, more Zola and Flavor, who are at risk of getting squeezed out here. And Lowe may have hit the wall at the start of his lap. Yes, it does seem like Lowe's backing down, so he might have hit the wall, and that would be a massive issue if that ends up being the case. His teammate Dave in the middle of it already, though. Trying to improve his time. He needs to improve by nearly an entire second if he wants to catch Flavor's lap time at the moment, though. Edgar and Jameis John both already out on circuit, preparing for flyer laps. Dave is up by 2/10 alone in Sector 1. So things are already going well for Dave. Not so much for Lowe, though. He's recharged his ERS near completely. So if there's no damage to the car, he'll be able to immediately go for another flyer. We don't know if there may be something wrong and compromised with the wing after he looks like he might have hit the wall in the first few corners. Through the S's, over the bridge. Now onto the final DRS straightaway. Alpine behind, that's Jameis John moves over a bit to let Edgar pass. Dave is up by 1.7 seconds, so not only is Dave in a position where he'll jump Flavor and Luke, he would likely jump all the way up into Shredder's range, around 5th or 6th fastest. He just needs to keep it together here. That would put Flavor on the bubble. Over 1.5 seconds up, so yes, Dave goes up to 6th, 139.903 ahead of Shredder. Lowe in the middle of another lap. He aborted his first attempt early, so his car's going to be a little bit lighter now. Lowe trying to knock Flavor out of the top 10. He needs to improve by roughly 1.8 seconds in order to leapfrog Flavor. Edgar and Jameis John also both out on circuit at the moment. Behind Lowe, though. How much is John up by? John is up by less than a 10th right now. Sha'Carri retires in the pits. He knows that that 39 is going to be good enough to get him in. And right now, it's looking like if you're in the 139.5s, you'll probably make it into Q3 without issue. Lowe is up by 2/3 of a second, roughly. Actually, a bit more than 2/3 of a second. That in itself would not be enough to get him over Flavor. What of Edgar? Edgar's up by 0.8, but that would not be enough for him either. Jameis John, has he found any time in Sector 2? He's still not even up by a full 10th, so Flavor might still be solid in his position as Lowe comes out of the final corner. 141.179. He's closer to Flavor, but is still 0.6 out. What about Edgar? Up by almost a second and a half, but he's still in the 141s. What of Jameis John? John needs to make nearly a 3-second improvement in order to make into the top 10. And he does! 38.968, and with that, Flavor is on the outside looking in, and it is Zola who is now on the bubble. Zola, seeing what was going to happen, has already decided to come out onto the circuit and go for a flyer, and something has happened to Edgar. He has spun coming out of turn 4. That's right in front of that Mercedes of CMP official who was in the middle of a flyer lap. Shredder also at risk of getting squeezed out, and he is way down on time at the moment. If any two of the drivers below him improve enough, Shredder could find himself squeezed out of Q3. Here comes Zola out of the final corner. 140.218. So Zola, not really an improvement. Oh no, that was just his outlap. This is his actual flyer. Now he's in the middle of his proper flyer. Same as Flavor. Flavor is still in a warm-up, not in the middle of a flyer yet. What of Lowe? Stone Shuffle retires in the pits now. Lowe has backed way down, and he is aborting. And with less than 30 seconds left, Lowe will not get an attempt to seriously make it into the top 10. What of Edgar? Time's nearly up into session. Flavor crosses the line in the middle of his to try and improve his lap. Trying to get ahead of Zola. Edgar will not make it to the line in time. And does not improve. So it's Zola versus Flavor. And if both of them improve enough, Shredder could be squeezed out. Zola is up by 2/10. That's going to make it even harder for Flavor to do anything. Flavor is up by 1/10 in the first sector. What about the rest of the circuit? Time's up in the session. Zola up to 7, 39.492. So it's Flavor versus Shredder. That's a 6/10 of a second swing. I don't know if Flavor can find that much time here. A little bit hesitant, gain on the throttle out of some of these corners. I don't know if Flavor has confidence in this car enough to take the fight to Shredder. In the end. Yes, he does! And Flavor is in! And Shredder is out! Flavor squeezes Shredder out at the last possible second! Incredible job by Flavor! And Dave will barely keep his McLaren locked in by 64 thousandths over Shredder and the Haas. Incredible stuff! And there's your results. A 2-second spread from the top to the bottom right now. So now we get underway. 10 drivers fighting for the top 10 positions, the final round of qualifying. And considering how long it takes to get an entire set of laps in, most of these drivers are only going to get 2 attempts at a lap here. You might be able to squeeze a third lap in if you want to risk pressuring the tires and over-fueling. Who's going to be the first one out this time? I'm seeing movement in the Ferrari and Red Bull camps. And yes, it looks like it will be Stone Shuffle. The first man to be, he will be the first man to get out onto the circuit in the Ferrari. The only Ferrari representation in this race. although there are other Ferrari badged engines in the event. UFRL Luke will be the third person out behind Shikari in the Red Bull, and Dave will be the fourth one out. All right, boys, one more attempt to go as fast as you bloody well can. Only Flavor and CMP official still in pit lane. As I say, that official is coming out of the pits now. So Shuffle will lead the field on their first flyer lap. What can he do? And who's going to take the top spot is the real question. I think it's pretty obvious that Pelly has a significant advantage, but it may be possible that he won't be able to replicate that lap, or that some other drivers may have been holding back. But at this point, I would definitely put money down on XRL Pelly. Instead, in Sector 2, that would be the Mercedes of Robbie Deasy, who is letting Zola past. No damage to the car, so I'm guessing, yeah, he was just letting him past. Here comes Stone Shuffle. Top speed at the end of the back straightaway is 185. Seems to be a pretty common thing. You heard rumors that you could hit 200 with a low enough setup, but we've not actually seen anyone hit 200 in either the X3 or this X2 qualifying. Maybe a little bit more possible if you have a good draft all the way down with DRS and DRS. Onto the final DRS straight for Stone Shuffle now. That's the Aston Martin of XRL Flavor, who moves aside to let other drivers pass. So he will be in the middle of his flyer lap while most everyone else is cooling down. The track will be a little bit blocked for him, potentially. He'll need to be aware of that. All right, Stone Shuffle to the line. Already very low on fuel. Will he be able to make it around? That'll be the real question. But Shuffle will set the first time, 138.417. And right afterwards, Shikari, 138.642. And here comes Luke. Luke, 138.780. Here comes Dave in the McLaren. What can he do? Not anywhere near as good. 143.797, but he's going to go for another run, so he's going back-to-back laps, it looks like. Pelly, this is the man to really keep an eye on. He was at the top in Q2. What can he do in Q3? Through the final corner now. 37! 137.658! James John crosses the line. He'll set 38.610. Here comes Zola to the line now. He'll be the 7th different driver to set a time in the session. 139.847. Robbie Deasy has to abort after invalidating his lap and not having enough fuel for another go. This is his teammate CMP Official. One corner left. What can Official do in the Mercedes? 139.468. Dave and Flavor are now the drivers to keep an eye on. Flavor in the middle of his lap, and Dave who's doing back-to-back laps. Dave's up by 0.4 there in Sector 2 alone, but that's still 5 seconds, about 4.5 seconds overall off of Pelly. Oh, and Dave's aborting. So Dave will not improve his lap this time around. So the focus goes to Flavor. What can he do? Pulled out a monster lap at the end of Q2. What can he do here in Q3? He's guaranteed at least a 10th place starting spot, assuming he doesn't get a penalty for hitting someone else in the qualifying. 106.162 at the end of Sector 2 in the Aston. So Pelly holding an 8/10 second advantage at the top of the timesheets. And honestly, he has every reason to consider maybe not coming back out, because that time could be good enough to get him in. Flavor sets the 8th best time thus far, 140.136. DZ back out on track in the Mercedes, trying to heat the tires up. Only the two Mercedes and then the Aston Martin are on track right now, with Official and Flavor on cooldown laps at the moment. Or no, I'm wrong. Official's going for another go at it. Very strange choice considering he doesn't have a lot of ERS left, only about a quarter left, and he'll burn through the majority of that just in Sector 1 alone. I'm curious though if he'll be any faster in Sector 1. Only by 2 thousandths. He's very low on fuel. So he's not going to go faster again here. He'll have to pit this lap. And he invalidates. And we already knew that Flavor was on a cooldown. UFR Luke has come out onto the circuit. Robbie DZ about to start his flyer, so the last driver who needs to set time in the session is this man here. Will ride silently on board with him for a lap. So DZ sets a time, 39.116. At the moment, Dave is the slowest man on track. He's in the middle of a lap now. We are in the last minute and a half of this session. And Dave invalidates, so he will not go any faster. Will not make it to the line in time, I think, to get another lap going. That's rough. So here comes UFR Luke now. And he is aborting. He knows that he cannot go any faster than that 38.780. So the focus now goes to the Red Bull of XRL Sha'Carri. Sha'Carri will go ahead and set a 38.642. Well, has set a 38.642. Can he go any faster? Here comes Pelly to the line to begin his last lap attempt. Mercedes coming into the pits. That's Deasy. Official has invalidated, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get another shot here to the line. Yes, one last shot. Flavor, 140.136 is the best he's been able to do thus far. Can he go any faster? What of Dave? Dave will just barely make it to the line in time for one last attempt. So this is it. Luke and Deasy will not go any faster. John, who is the third fastest, silently been extremely good. 138.610. Coming around the final corner. He will set a time of 138.180. So he moves up into second now. It's going to be a long wait until we see what Sha'Carri can do, but he's up by 3/10 in Sector 1 and 2 alone. He's got Stone Shuffle behind him. Shuffle also just set his fastest Sector 2 time as well. For brief moments, you can see Sha'Carri ahead. Fuel lights flashing on their cars. They don't care. They're going for anyway. Dave has crashed out. He will not improve. Sha'Carri goes up to second, 38.152. Stone Shuffle, 37.957, but can't beat Pelly. What of Zola? 39.592. No significant improvement. Official is up by half a second. Pelly goes even faster, 37.183. Here comes Official now to the final corner. Can he move up and beat his own teammate for 6th starting position? He moves up to 5th, 38.776, and what a Flavor at the line. He does move up just one more spot. And Pelly will take home the pole position here, dominating the last 2 rounds of qualifying before doing so. And look at that. Pelly, 3/4 of a second ahead of the next closest man. Stone Shuffle, Sha'Carri, Davis, John, all right on top of each other, especially Sha'Carri and John. Then it's a gap until you get to Official and Luke, are very close on pace. Then DZ, Flavor, Zola, all kind of off on their own, and Dave just could not get a proper bloody run going. The question now is going to be, what is everyone's tire compound of choice going to be to start this race off with? 14 drivers, and if everyone's going to be on the hard tires, we're going to see almost no overtaking because everyone's going to be on the exact same strategy. Real quickly, though, we want to go ahead and bring you up to date with standings as they are right now. Manufacturers. McLaren has 100 points in 10th. 9th is Aston Martin with 117. 8th is Williams with 123. 7th is Ferrari with 128. 6th is Mercedes with 140. There is a tie for 4th between AlphaTauri and Red Bull, 165 each. Third is Alpine with 181. Second is Haas with 186. And first is Alfa Romeo with 251. Then, when it comes to the Drivers' Championship, 18th is Robbie Deasy with 46 points. 17th is XRL Edgar with 2. 16th is XRL Ollie with 7. 15th is XRL Lowe with 13. There's a tie for 13th with Adam K, J18, and CMP Official. They both have 19 points each. 12th is Remisco, and 11th is Samuel Pedia. They're in a tie with 30 points each. 10th is Airmax with 37 points. 9th is Shredder with 53. 8th is XL Shikari with 55. 7th is X at the spot with 63 points. 6th is Mr. Neon with 68. XRL Yun is 5th with 69 points. Nice. 4th is XRL Torpedo with 78 points. 3rd is Davis Dunn with 89. 2nd is K18 CSC with 112 points. And leading the championship right now is XRL Pelly with a 40-point advantage. He has 152 points after taking pole today. And I think, honestly, he's probably in a good position to walk out here at the podium. He will likely extend his championship lead as his closest rival has been removed from the series due to poor conduct. And K18 not running consistently enough to properly fight with him for that title. A little bit of variety near the back. Edgar may start this race on medium tires. This is interesting. Shredder starting on softs now, and Edgar and Airmax both starting on the mediums. So Shredder should be significantly faster than the drivers ahead, but that also means that Shredder will likely have to do a two-stop strategy, though. All right, well, relatively short turnover time. We're actually going to start this race a little bit earlier than normal. Same thing with the X3 race, so that's nice to see. Dave may also be starting on the medium tire, so that may give Shredder a bit more of a headache at the start of this event. No qualifying bans for this race. Yep. So our top 9 drivers all starting on the exact same tire compound. Dave, Edgar, and Airmax in 10th, 13th, and 14th all starting on the mediums, and then Shredder starting on softs. I don't know how good of a strategy this is going to be unless Shredder believes that he can go a few laps on softs real quickly and then potentially jump on hards and inherit a bunch of positions off of that. That's not a strategy I would feel confident with. But keep an eye on the Haas. As long as he doesn't get involved in anything, he should be the fastest driver for the first 2 laps of this race. At the front is Pelly and Stone Shuffle. Pelly just kind of, by virtue of starting a game pool, he's already extended his lead by 1 point in the championship. And frankly, as long as he just reign at the end, he'll extend his lead. Championship seems to be all about his, as K18 is just not able to show up often enough to properly bring the fight to him. Stone Shuffle would love to steal a victory, though, as would Shikari, I imagine. And Jabez John has had a respectable run thus far this season. Stone Shuffle and Shikari have just been disqualified for bullcrap, but okay, I believe it. They'll get reinstated once we start the race itself, though. Again, it is a very short run down to the start-finish line here. I'm sorry, not from the start-finish line. It's a short run down to turn 1. So it's really only can possibly be Pelly or Shuffle here at the start. As the field's lined up, we wait for a lights. 4 lights, 5 lights. As lights out, away we go here at Singapore. Stone Shuffle trying to make something happen here. And Pelly all's already gone to the front. Stone Shuffle is actually going to lose a position to Shikari. So Shikari is going to jump up into second. Stone Shuffle's going to try and fight back, coming out of 3. A lot of movement all the way up and down the field. In the end, Pelly is already a second ahead. And Luke has gone around and is out of it right away at the start. Luke crashes out lap 1, turn 3, and that puts us under a virtual safety car. So a virtual safety car right at the start of the event. Oh, look at this. Shredder's already up into 8th. Dave is in 9th. Edgar in 10th. So plenty of movement throughout the field. All right, coming to the party right now is UFR Luke. Luke, go ahead, include your audio. A spin and an accident right there out of turn 3 on the first lap. What happened?
Absolutely no idea, mate. I don't know if I got clipped, if I put too much throttle on. No idea. Couldn't tell you.
Alright, well, it's a travesty to see this happen. Do you think you'll be able to rebound next week at Suzuka?
Yeah, hopefully. Suzuka's one of my favourite tracks, so I'll give them the best shot.
Alright, well, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. Shame to see you taken out like this. As we turn our focus back to the race, as green flag is back underway. Shredder, using those soft tires, is putting Robbie Deasy under incredible pressure and stress right now as they're going through the 90-degree corners. You can't really make overtakes here. Yellow flag farther back, that's Edgar. The number 2 AlphaTauri driver has had an incident that sent him to the back of the grid. But this right here, Shredder on Deasy, is the most active battle on track at the moment as they come out of the final corner. Shredder to the inside, and it looks like he has the advantage already. So Shredder now up into 7th after starting in the 11th position, 4 spots gained without even an official full lap of racing in yet. Already he's setting his sights on the Red Bulls of Zola and Shikari. At the front, Stone Shuffle is losing touch with Pelly as CMP official in the Mercedes can keep draft off of him, and Davis John, the Alpine, is drafting off of that Mercedes. And Shredder already there now behind Zola. Can't really make overtakes at this part of the racetrack, but that does not seem to be stopping the Haas from closing down and barreling down on his rival at the moment. Technically, these two drivers are on different strategies. Shredder will have to pit well before lap 10 for sure. And will likely have to pit a second time in this race as well. Through the 90-degree corners, you can see Shredder is faster with those soft tires. You're not really, the cars just simply don't go fast enough. The track's not really wide enough to make overtakes in 90-degree corner sections here in Sector 3. Gap at the front is now nearly 3 seconds. Yellow flag, Lowe has had an incident, and Shikari has spun. Shikari has spun out of the top 5 and very nearly collects 2 other drivers. What in the devil are you doing, Shikari? But that will drop him out of the points paying positions. And with no front wing, he's going to have to circle all the way around the track in order to repair it. And that could just murder his chance at a race now. Here comes Shredder. He's got DRS and softer tires than Zola. Running right behind the Red Bull. Dives to the inside. How does Zola defend? A little bit of contact. But Shredder now is up in the 5th position and will be clean air ahead for the next 3.5 seconds. That will let Shredder preserve the life of those tires just a little bit longer, as now Robbie Deasy is starting to close in on Zola just a bit. Davis John is losing the plot when it comes to his fight on CMP Official, but that's not the case when it comes to the fight between Official and Stone Shuffle. Dave, also on the medium tires, is faster than Deasy and faster than Zola. He's now going to start putting pressure on the two of them. Not very many practical overtaking opportunities on the circuit, and Deasy has had an accident, and Deasy has gone off circuit and has damaged the car, and that is going to drop him down to 10th. With no front wing, he'll fall even farther when he has to pit, as the Shikari also. This might put Edgar back into the points paying positions. Flavor has made his way up into 8th. Dave is in 7th. I can see Zola ahead as Shredder is trying to run down the top 4. Davis John in 4th position at the moment has lost touch with Official. Official has lost touch with Stone Shuffle. Shuffle is staying just less than 3 seconds out from Pelly thus far in the event. The next question, when will Shredder make his stop? How long is he going to be able to make these tires last? As Lowe now even gets by Deasy and Shikari, and he'll go up into 11th despite having an instance of his own. So it has not been a good run to start this race out for either the Mercedes of Robbie Deasy or the Red Bull of Shikari. Shredder can see Davis John ahead, and he has brought the gap down about 3/10 this lap. But his soft tires are likely already starting to fall off in life. And he will likely have to stop twice in this event in order to make it to the end. Oh no, and that's Pelly! And your race leader, Pelly, has crashed! Pelly has spun and crashed out of the lead! He's going to keep going, but he has fallen from 1st to 4th and now has Shredder hot on his tail behind him. Here comes Shredder to the inside. And the Ferrari of Stone Shuffle now goes to the front, and Pelly spins out of the lead and falls all the way back to 5th position in the process. So now Stone Shuffle and the Ferrari is your new race leader. A completely unexpected change of circumstances here at Singapore. Pelly, though, is not letting Shredder get away easily. He's in DRS range, keeping pace with the Haas. I don't know if he's aware that the Haas is on soft tires, but he will be soon when the Haas's pace starts significantly falling off and backing Pelly up into Zola. And Shredder has actually just let Pelly pass on a non-DRS straight. So Shredder seems to think that it's not worth trying to keep Pelly behind him. And he lets Pelly pass. Bold strategy, and definitely not one I would be doing. Although this does give Shredder an advantage of using DRS in the following corner. Not following corner, the following straight. Pelly, 3.3 seconds out from Davis John at the moment. And Shredder is already losing touch. Shredder may have already burned the best off of his tires. And if that's the case, he'll have to make his stop now or in the next lap. He'll stay out one more time, but he's already out of DRS range of Pelly, and Zola is already storming back on him now as we speak. Still, going from 11th to 4th is incredible, but he'll now have to pit, and when he does pit, he's likely to fall all the way out of the points-paying positions. Farther back, Air Max and Flavor are fighting for the 8th spot on track. DRS is in the Williams' favor. He's able to close down a bit as they come down to the braking zone. But the gap was just too large entering the straightaway for Merrimax to really do anything. He's definitely faster than Flavor at the moment, but here's the other thing to consider. Air Max on medium tires, and with the time penalty, that means that Flavor does have the long-term advantage. His tires will not fall off. Flavor is known for being extremely good and conservative when it comes to tire life. CMP Official has fallen more than 4 seconds off of Stone Shuffle. Dawn is actually closing in on Official, but more importantly, Pelly is running back down both of them. Shredder has totally lost the plot when it comes to running with the top 4, but he maintains a 2-second advantage over Zola. Dave runs behind Zola, but can't put any direct pressure on him. Flavor and Air Max is the only real battle of note outside of this one here, as Shikari can see Robbie DZ ahead. And Lowe's just a bit ahead of them as well. But Shikari has not made an attempt yet. Air Max gets by Flavor. Not in an area you would expect it to happen, so there may be something off with Flavor, as he drops now to 9th. Shredder stays out for another lap on the soft tires. Davis John sees CMP Official ahead. Closing in with some DRS, but can't get alongside him, can't even come close to getting alongside of him. And now Edgar pits out of 10th, so that will drop him back to last place, as Lowe, Shikari, and DZ all continue to run on top of each other. None of these trio are within DRS range when they get to the detection zone, but they all close back on each other's DRS range when they in between the detection zones. Actually, I say that, but Shikari is now within a second of Lowe, so he'll have DRS on the McLaren ahead, going down this back straightaway. Already within 8/10, within 3/4, within 2/3, within about 6/10, but he seems he's stalling out here. No, he closes in, gets within about half a second at the braking zone, but not anywhere close enough to properly muster a fight. Pelly already trying to recover from his self-inflicted spin. He sees Davis John and CMP Official ahead, and now he's going to start putting pressure on those two. And that's great news for Stone Shuffle, though, because it keeps Pelly held up and lets Stone Shuffle open up the gap a bit more. Shredder hemorrhaging time at this point, and he is pitted. So Shredder, finally, after 8 laps, goes ahead and makes his first of what should be 2 stops in this race. This will drop him down to 9th in the end. Oh, and they're putting on medium tires. So I'm guessing they're going to go soft, medium, mediums to the end here. For 2nd, John on the outside of official. Drag race to the corner. Who backs out? Neither of them. But John was a little bit better. He had the inside line. That's all he needed. And now Pelly can put pressure on official. A Ferrari won in the X3 race. Can a Ferrari win in the X2 race as well? Also of note, DZ within DRS range of Lowe. Lowe, though, also does not have DRS, so Lowe is not able to keep up with Shikari and may find DZ pressuring him soon. Shredder has 15 seconds worth of clean air ahead of him and is now on the best tires on the entire grid. This could do well for him, if not for the fact that he will still have to get a second pit stop in before this race is over. Farther up. DRS enables for official on John and Pelly on official. But official is losing touch with Jabus John, and Pelly will try to do something to that Mercedes here, I imagine. Still, all three of them, well, these two will have DRS again, so official can use DRS as a defense, and John bobbles real badly coming onto the straightaway. Here comes official. He's going to try and make a crossover. He wants to get back by the Alpine. He looks to the inside. Is he able to make it stick? Contact side by side. They make contact again. Pelly is right there behind, but is not in a position to overtake either of them. Contact again. John barely holds it ahead of official. But John is not staying perfect there, and it's letting official and Pelly put more and more pressure on him, which could cause him to make more and more mistakes. And all the while, Stone Shuffle is now 7.5 seconds away with the lead. Farther back. Lowe in 11th, DZ in 12th. How does the Mercedes fight to get past? He dives to the inside. Lowe doesn't even try to defend. Under braking, who goes in harder? It will be DZ who gets by Lowe in the end. Official seems to be losing touch with John. But John made a mistake last lap. If he makes it again, it will bring official and Pelly right back up to him once more. Official not in DRS range. Coming onto the main straightaway this time. This is perfect for Pelly. How does Pelly try to overtake official? Official defends inside. Pelly outside as they go into 1. Go into 2. Official spins. And while he'll maintain 4th for the moment, that will kill his ability to properly fight for the podium. And now Pelly once again musters a fight against Jabus John. Shredder just set the fastest lap of the day, but he is on a radically different strategy. So we don't really have a good idea where he's going to turn out. Most of the field is on single stop, medium to hard, or hard to medium. Shredder is on a 2-stop, soft, medium, medium strategy we anticipate. Pelly within DRS range of Jabus John. And this could be bad news for Stone Shuffle because Pelly, who is 3/4 of a lap faster in qualifying, 3/4 of a second faster per lap in qualifying, when it came to the final times, will likely easily be able to run down Jabus John on merit. Well, run down Stone Shuffle on merit, I mean, once he gets past Jabus John. Edgar is in the pits now, and will go a lap down in the process. Alright, Pelly has DRS on John. The gap between 1st and 2nd is over 8 seconds at the moment. if Pelly maintains a gain rate of 3/4 a second per lap, that means in 2 laps, he'd close by 1.5 seconds. That means in 4 laps, he would close by 3 seconds. That means in 8 laps, he'd close by 6 seconds. So he would pretty much catch Stone Shuffle in about 9 to 10 laps. Assuming that he maintains a 3/4 second advantage per lap without issue. Oh, and Shikari has crashed out! And that's the same corner he crashed out earlier! Horrible scenario for Shikari. So now the focus goes to how long can DZ stay ahead of Low, and I think DZ has that advantage in that fight. The other fight, Pelly versus John, there's not really much else. Edgar gets a time penalty, but he's a lap down, so it's not really going to have too much of an effect on anything. Pelly's a little bit closer to John this time. Again, he has DRS, so he's able to close more and more on the front straightaway. And assuming he can maintain that advantage, going through 1, 2, 3. Oh God, did Edgar just crash? I think Edgar just had a spin of his own now. But Pelly within DRS of Javis John. Airmax makes a pit stop, so he will not cause an issue for Shredder when it comes for Shredder overtaking him. Again, Shredder is on the fastest and best tires on the grid right now. Pelly has no ERS. Well, 13% ERS. Yeah, Pelly and John are even on ERS. Stone Shuffle's actually relatively solid on ERS right now. As I look down the grid, Zola still has over half of his battery left. Flavor has 2/3 of his battery left. And Shredder is closing on him. Shredder has about 1/3 of his battery left. As DZ overtakes Airmax, as Airmax finally comes out of the pits, he'll be on fresher hards, and he'll run those hards to the end of this race. Looking when it comes to fuel, though, we didn't get a yellow flag until the last quarter of the race in X3, and not very many people properly prepared for it. Looking here, CMP official not looking like he's in a good position for fuel. The same can be said for XRL Flavor. The same can be said for Airmax, but everyone else seems to be good on fuel for the moment. We'll talk more about the fuel issue later if we continue to have no yellow flags for as this race goes on. And that's Lowe, who has had an accident in Sector 2. Finally gets back underway. He is most of a lap ahead. Oh, and Pelly's just gotten by John on the front straightaway. I didn't think it was going to happen that soon, but Pelly is now by. He is 9 seconds out from Stone Shuffle. So at this rate, he'll probably catch Shuffle in about... If he's closing by, he'll catch in about 18 laps. That might not be a good thing. He closes by 1.5 seconds in 2 laps, so 3 seconds in 4 laps. 12 laps. He'll catch Stone Shuffle in 12 laps at this rate. Already, Pelly is already cutting the gaps down. So can Pelly overcome a spin to win here? Farther back, Shredder has caught Flavor. He'll go to the outside of the Aston Martin and easily overtake him, so that will not compromise him at all. Again, Shredder is expected to be running a 2-stop strategy. Ah, did he just kill his wing? Shredder may have just damaged his car's wing. Next driver that Shredder will have to deal with will be this man here, Dave. And Dave has a lap car of Edgar behind him as well. But Dave will likely be pitting sometime soon. He is on the same set of tires he started this race on. So with that in mind, we could see a scenario where Shredder might pick up a few more positions before inevitably making his final stop. I don't know if Shredder's going to be able to stay in the top 10, though. Actually, no, I take it back. I think he will be able to stay in the top 10, but I think he'll be stuck in the back half of the top 10. Pelly is now within 8 seconds of Stone Shuffle. The top 5 drivers all have yet to make their stops. Dave has now pitted, so that will move Shredder up into 6 now. Not yet halfway through this event. Alright, here comes Airmax now. He's going to catch up to Dave, but Dave will actually lose the position to Airmax. And Dave will also lose it to Robbie Deasy. So Dave falls to 10th, last of the points. Pain scenarios and slides the car out of 3. So the tires are still cold. But he is on fresh hards. The driver I have ahead of him, Robbie Deasy, is on worn mediums. So the advantage will go to Dave relatively shortly here. Lowe pits out of 11th. We had a virtual safety car for about half of the first lap of the event, but we have stayed green since. As Pelly continues to hack away at Stone Shuffle's lead after spinning himself out of the lead early in the event and falling all the way down to 5th, but being 3/4 of a second a lap faster than the rest of the field, than the next closest man in the field, I should say. Shredder is the fastest man on the track, but that is because he is on medium tires and running a 2-stop strategy that never touch the hards, while a large majority of the drivers who are properly fast are still on the same hards they started this race on. McLaren instant, that is Lowe, who has had an accident out of 4. This won't be good news for Shredder. Just about to catch Zola, and no, he will not, actually. Lowe will move out of his way. Shredder can see Zola ahead of him. The gap is still 4.5 seconds. Dave now putting pressure on Robbie Deasy. Deasy has the track position, but Dave has the tires. And he'll have DRS on the straights. Halfway through the Singapore GP for X2. 12 drivers remain. Our 11th and 12th place drivers are both a lap down, though. So right now, it's looking like if you stay on the lead lap, you will walk out here with at least a point. Dave gets a run on Deasy down the final DRS straight on the circuit, but not really in a spot to make an overtake afterwards, so he'll stay in that Mercedes tires tracks as they go through the 90-degree corners. Lowe speeding entering the pits as he has to repair the damage to his car. It has been a horrible day for McLaren. It looks like only one of them will likely walk out here with points. As I say that, Dave has now just had an accident. While trying to chase down Robbie Deasy, Dave has an accident and has lost his wing. This is great news for Deasy. This means he'll probably be able to finish this race in 9th without too much of an issue. The gap between first and second is now close to less than 6 seconds. While Stone Shuffle hasn't done anything wrong today, Pelly is just so much faster. And Lowe actually retires in the pit lane, apparently. Oh, and that's a full course safety car. Lowe has crashed out. I'm sorry, Lowe didn't retire in the pit lane. Lowe has crashed out. That is a full course safety car, and that's the last thing Stone Shuffle wanted to see. This is great news for James John. He'll be able to pit early and maybe get a drop on the leaders. Possibly. Maybe. Probably not. Don't know. Hard to tell. I don't think so. So our top three, so John makes a stop. He'll be 4th, but he'll get a position back from Zola at least. But right now, it's going to take a long time for the field to all properly gather up. A lot of drivers are going to be able to get onto new tires, and everyone who started on the hards went to mediums. This is perfect for them. They can go ahead and jump on mediums now. Now, the mediums will be hurting by the end, but they can go ahead and jump on mediums now and be in a really relatively good position. Stone Shuffle is actually held up behind Dave at the moment. This actually will put Dave, I think, back on the lead lap overall. Not Edgar, though. He's too far back, but Dave will end up staying on the lead lap just barely. And now, we see Stone Shuffle coming into the pits. Pelly will join him afterwards, and we're anticipating Zola will pit as well. And we know John will overtake Zola, but it looks like they're just too far back for John to be able to do anything to Stone Shuffle or Pelly. So this likely has given XRL Pelly the race win by default, being so much faster than Stone Shuffle. The only thing Shuffle could help was that Pelly would overdrive the car as he was reeling them in. Now he doesn't have to worry about that. Pelly will likely be able to walk by Stone Shuffle in about 2 to 3 laps on the racetrack, and that will end the fight for the win. Zola finally coming to the pits, and he will lose several positions in the process. The driver this hurts the most, though, is this man here, SRD Shredder, now in a very frustrating position. He is on worn medium tires, but if he pits now, it will put him on the same strat as everyone else. I think he might try and stick with the mediums for a bit longer and then jump onto softs, potentially. Wouldn't be an ideal strategy, but he's kind of in a harsh position now, and and it's too late for him to jump onto the same strat as the drivers all around him. CMP Official now will end up in 5th ahead of Zola, as Official had got his pit in early. And Airmax is not pitted yet. He is on hards that should take him to the end of this race. He is in 7th now. Flavor 8th. He did get a stop early, so Flavor in a relatively good position. DZ in 9th. Also in a good position when it comes to tires. And Dave now just has to run around the track as fast as he can to catch the rear of the grid. So I don't think we're going to probably see the green flag until maybe lap 19. And this is great news for anyone who is worried about fuel. Those issues will be alleviated now. Top 4 is already caught up with each other. Of note, and here comes CMP Official to catch the back of the grid. And that's Zola, so the top 6 have all caught together. Edgar gets a time penalty for track violations. Oh, okay. That's Edgar tapping the wall back there. Aramax still 16 seconds out from Zola. They'll close most of that down on the straightaways. Mind you, Dave is already in Sector 3, while the field hasn't quite yet left Sector 1. I don't know if Dave is going to be able to catch the rear of the grid in time, but he's making a good fight of it. Aramax 9 seconds out from Zola. Now 6 seconds out. He's going to catch him by the end of the straight here. So the top 8 have all caught up. Robbie Deasy still 12 seconds out, and Dave another 22 seconds out. So if we're going to end up waiting on Dave to catch the back of the grid, we will not likely go green until lap 21. So the drivers who are on fresh mediums in a good position. Everyone who's on hards, those hards already have a lot of wear, and while they'll take them to the end, they're not going to be in great racing condition. And the man who's worst off of everyone, Shredder, running in the 4th position, and is in a horrible spot when it comes to tire life now. He will have to make another stop before this race is over. And unless the field spreads out very quickly and very large, Shredder will drop back to 10th position when he makes his stop. And if he was to stop now under the safety car, he would go right to the back of the field and would end up on the same tire strat as the top 6 are. Well, the top 6 outside of him are. Technically, he'd be like 1 or 2% better, but it wouldn't be enough to change anything. Aramax probably in one of the worst positions, the oldest hard tires right now, and he has time penalties. In fact, as we look at time penalties right now, 3 seconds for CMP official, 3 seconds for Aramax, 9 seconds for Edgar. And finally, Dave catches the rear of the grid. So we will be going green on lap 21. Stone Shuffle has led the majority of this race up to this point, but it is anticipated that XRL Pelly will easily overtake him and walk to the end of this event. Pelly, a spin. He fell all the way down as low as 5th, made his way up to 2nd, and was about 6 seconds out from Stone Shuffle and quickly reeling him in before this yellow flag happened. And what looked like it may be an outside chance for Stone Shuffle, it looks like now he's just going to have to settle for 2nd against a man who is 3/4 of a second a lap faster than him, unless Shuffle can put on some incredible defense and make Pelly make a mistake. Or if Davis Young gets a good enough run on Pelly. Because 4th place Shredder is on very worn tires and will not be able to factor in. CMP official is 5th, and while he is on tires comparable to John's, he has a time penalty. Zola is 6th and has not had the pace of our current top 3. Safety car officially coming in this lap. 11 drivers, 10 of them still on the lead lap. Stone Shuffle will control the field. How does Pelly react to Stone Shuffle? The Stone Shuffle gets to decide when the field goes and how they go. Again, Pelly has not been perfect today, but he's been fast enough to overcome his mistakes. Shuffle has been perfect, but just not at the same pace that Pelly has been at. When does Stone go, and how does Pelly follow? And we're off. Shuffle got a good run and actually opens the gap up to about 4/10 as they run into turn 1. DRS won't be enabled for first 2 laps. Fighting farther back, Official gets by Shredder as Shredder on these worn tires trying to defend but can't do anything with them. The car just can't maintain the speed through the corner. Now he's finding himself under pressure from Zola. John behind Pelly. Oh, and Official missed the corner, and now Shredder comes back on the outside, but Shredder's gonna have to back out of it or he risks being stuffed into the wall like that. Yes, Shredder stuffed into the wall. And that will be his race pretty much over. Shredder is going to be relegated to a 10th place finish by the looks of it now because of that. Because he will have to pit to repair wing damage now. He's going to fall to 10th first, and he won't be on fast enough tires to close the gap down. So Shredder and his 2-stop strategy has turned against him completely. Official has lost touch with the top 3. Pelly is about a second out from Stone Shuffle. Jabez John is about 3/4 out from Pelly as they go through the 90-degree corners. We know Pelly's not that weak when following another driver. Pelly is distancing himself from Jabez John now, and already within 9/10 of Stone Shuffle. Shuffle's just at the fastest lap though, 41.198. And Shredder finally comes into the pits. Oh! And Edgar spins out of the final corner. The lap down, so it doesn't really have an impact on the race. Dave fighting with Robbie Deasy. We're 8th and 9th now. At the front, Pelly is actually closing on Stone Shuffle without DRS. I see no way. Oh, wow. Shredder wants to go on to softs to the end of this race. That's going to be a bold strategy, because I don't think those softs are going to make it these last 10 laps fine. But Shredder will try and go for fastest lap point in that scenario. What can Stone Shuffle do to keep Pelly behind him for these remaining 10 laps? There will be 9 laps to go at the line. No DRS on the front straightaway this time, but Pelly will have DRS on the back stretch, and we'll likely see him go for the move. He's within 2/3 of a second of Stone Shuffle. Most of the rest of the field is already spread out. There is still a fight for 8th and 9th, though, between Deasy and Dave. Pelly within 6/10. DRS is in his favor. He's within half a second. Gap opens up a bit. He's already closing back down. Half a second at the end of the straight. Couldn't get by him that time. The Stone Shuffle have what it takes to keep Pelly behind. Dave pulled alongside Deasy briefly in 5 and 6 there, but could not complete the pass. This is a fight for 8th place. And then there's also the fight for the win. And Edgar retires in the pits, realizing that he's basically become a danger on track. Pelly's fallen and back from Shuffle just a bit, but I think that's just conserved tire life. Still within a second, though. Within 3/4, actually gained a bunch just in that second to last corner alone. So within 3/4 of a second, now within 2/3 of a second, as they come onto the front straightaway, DRS is in his favor, so he'll close in a bit more on the Ferrari. About a little less than 3/4, actually less than 2/3, going into 1. Now as they come out of 3, Pelly's still within 2/3. Big lunge, got within half a second. DRS in favor of Pelly. I think Shuffle is running lower wings than Pelly, and he's using that to try and negate the DRS that Pelly has. Again, Pelly can't get within half a second until after they exit the braking zone. But Pelly is getting closer and closer every lap. However, it's not by margins of 3/4 of a second now, it's now closer to 1/10 of a second. Dave gets by DZ on the outside, going into 4. So tire advantage for now is with Dave, but DZ has tires that will last to the end without issue. Well, not without issue, but with less of an issue than Dave's will. And as these two keep fighting, Shredder will come in closer to them. And if either of these two start getting time penalties, Shredder can capitalize and steal from them. But right now, I think Shredder just needs to focus on fastest lap point, because that's the only thing he really has going for him at the moment. 6/10. Pelly behind Stone Shuffle. Jabashan has broken away from the rest of the field, but he's not able to keep up with the top 2. It's just these two on their own. Pelly is faster, Shuffle is closer to perfect. And I think Shuffle has a car that's faster in a straight line as well. Half a second onto the front straightaway now. That's the closest it's been. Under braking, Pelly will close in even more, likely within 1/3 of a second. No, he's actually very cautious under braking, and the gap opens a bit that time. And that's Airmax, who has had a spin out of the final corner. And they'll drop him behind both Dave and Robbie Deasy. Deasy right there behind Dave, looking to make something happen. He'll have DRS, but now Airmax is there, and he'll have DRS as well. Flavor, despite only coming home about 8th in the X3 race, might be en route to a 6th place finish here in the X2 race. So 8th in X3 and then 6th in X2, that would be incredible. No overtake that time. Pelly is now consistently within 3/4 of a second of Stone Shuffle around the circuit. DRS again for the final time this lap, but the corner at the end of the straightaway isn't really conductive to overtakes. Pelly, though, within half a second. The one good thing for Stone Shuffle is that Pelly is behind him, so Pelly is burning his tires up more following Shuffle. But that might not be enough of an issue, considering that Pelly was still faster than Shuffle even after scuffing his own tires from a spin. Within 1/4 of a second out of the corner, but again, I think Stone Shuffle has a car that's just faster in a straight line. And he's able to use that to negate some, not all, but some, of Pelly's DRS. We know what's going to happen, the question is, when does it happen? This is the closest Pelly has been thus far. Less than half a second coming onto the front straightaway. Then 4/10 under braking. He gets within just at 1/3. Actually, less than 1/3. But can't get alongside. Airmax gets a time penalty for track violations again. As Robbie Deasy looks to be losing touch with XRL Dave ahead, and now Airmax is putting pressure on Deasy. But it does look like Mercedes will come home with top 10 with both cars in the points paying position, so that will be good for them when it comes to the Manufacturers Championship. I don't think any other car is in that position. There's only one Williams on the track still. There's only one Red Bull still on the track. One Aston. Yeah, Mercedes will have a small positive. It looks like they're going to be the only one with both their cars still running at the end of this race. Once again, at the front, Pelly within less than 6/10. Half a second. Stone Shuffle opens up the gap just a little bit going down the front straightaway. And Pelly closes under braking. Does Pelly have what it takes to get by Stone Shuffle? Shuffle actually has a small advantage in ERS over Pelly. So maybe Pelly, while he's faster by himself, he may not have what it takes to get by Stone Shuffle. I think he will get by him, but it's taking a lot longer than anyone thought it would. Extremely tense fight at the front. They're almost even on ERS. Stuffle only has a 1% advantage, frankly. The thing is, Pelly just kind of is in a position where he can force Shuffle to burn up all his ERS. The counterpoint to that, though, is that there's only about 4 laps to go when they get to the line. Shuffle might have enough ERS to use as defense. Pelly taps the outside wall there, but it's nice and square on the car, so it shouldn't compromise him that much. They come to the line, 4 laps to go. Airmax trying to make a run on Robbie Deasy here. He's got DRS closing on the Mercedes in the straight. Can't get by him. Pelly's actually fallen back from Stone Shuffle at this point. Burning his ERS up more than Shuffle. So Pelly might be losing his head just a little bit as we are running out of time. Shuffle has led the most laps of this race. Airmax just got by Deasy going into 4, so good job on him there. Although I imagine Deasy's not done and he'll try and fight back against Airmax before this is over. Shredder is back there in 10th on soft tires, but there's no way that Shredder's going to be close enough to take advantage of these two fighting. Pelly is actually down on ERS compared to Stone Shuffle. The only thing Pelly has right now at this stage is DRS on the straights. 3 laps to go now. These two drivers are about 6 seconds out from Jabez John, and John himself is about 6 seconds out from CMP Official. Official finds himself about 7 seconds out from Zola, which will be good for him because he has 3 seconds of time penalty he needs to outrun. So despite this late race yellow, most of the field is spread out except for the top 2, and then this fight 7th, 8th, 9th. Airmax closing in on Dave here, as Deasy can't seem to keep pace with the Williams. Stone Shuffle has actually set the fastest lap of the day thus far. I thought Shredder would have gotten it, but no, it has actually been Stone Shuffle who has maintained it. So great job on his part. Frustration for Airmax is that all this fighting against DZ and Dave isn't going to mean anything. Time penalties will drop him back to a 9th place finishing position here regardless. So once more, we turn our focus to this fight for a lead. It's right out the back of Stone Shuffle. It'll be 2 laps to go when they hit the line. Pelly is not nearly as close to Stone Shuffle as he was before. Maybe he's overtaxed his tires, trying to go too hard. CMP official has spun out of the final corner. And this could work out in Zola's favor and give Zola 4th place position. Because even if Zola doesn't overtake official on the track, Zola has no time penalties while CMP official does. This is great news for Jabez Young because that means he just has to make sure he doesn't put a foot wrong, and he's going to be guaranteed a podium position finish. Zola sees official. He uses DRS. Doesn't have a lot of ERS that he can utilize though, but he's got more than official, who is out at the end of the straight. Pelly has fallen to about a second out from Stone Shuffle here. And his ERS, I mean, at the end of this straight, 5%. Stone Shuffle, 22%. So the advantage is firmly in the Ferrari camp now. Zola not close enough to do anything to official this time. I think official will hold on to on-track position over Zola, but time penalties I think will give Zola 4th position. At the front, out of the final corner, white flag is in the air. Pelly is just barely within DRS range. But he's out of ERS at the end of the front straightaway. Is only able to recharge back to about 5% coming out of 3. He is out of ERS range at the DRS range at the detection point. This is over. An official makes another time penalty. It is over though. Pelly out of ERS now. And that kills his top speed at the straight, only 175. Stone Shuffle now just needs to not hit the wall, not make any mistakes, and he will walk out of here with the win. Pelly, a self-inflicted spin, takes away what should have been an easy victory. But it's not all bad for him, because he has extended his championship lead over K18 CSC, and is likely going to put himself in position to lock up the title early now. Stone Shuffle started on the front row, nearly lost second to Shikari on the run down to turn 1, but barely kept it ahead. Lost touch with Pelly, but then Pelly spun, and Stone Shuffle has not put a tire on all day today. Official has lost to the position of Zola officially now. But he is far enough ahead of Flavor that he should still... Oh no! I think Official's nearly out of fuel as Stone Shuffle crosses the line with the victory. But Official is nearly out of fuel. His lights are flashing. This is horrible news for him. Will he be able to make it? Flavor coming up. Flavor is actually going to come home with a 6th place finish in the end. Dave will come home with 7th. Robbie DZ will be scored with 8th, and Airmax will get 9th, and Shredder will come home in 10th by himself. But Stone Shuffle is your winner here. All right, and coming to the party right now is your race winner, Stone Shuffle. Shuffle, make sure your audio is included. A Ferrari win in X3, and you bring home another Ferrari win in X2. Fantastic drive. What do you have to say about that run today, mate?
Yeah, it was a tough one. I honestly thought if Pelly hadn't made the mistake, he probably would have had me today. He definitely had more pace and clean air, but as we all know, it's so difficult to overtake at Singapore. So I think that the pace difference was just not big enough for him to be able to make that pass at the end of the race after the safety car.
Outstanding, fantastic job here with this victory. Next week is Suzuka. Do you think you can replicate your results there?
Well, it's a track I love as well. Like Singapore and Suzuka are probably my two favourite circuits, so I do put a bit of time in these. And if I'm free, I will race next week rather. So, yeah, I think I'd have a decent shot, but then it depends who turns up, doesn't it?
Fair enough. All right, great job on the victory, man. You can definitely keep your head held high. Not only do you get the race win, you also take home fastest lap as well. So good job.
Nice, thanks.
All right. I don't know if anyone else is going to be willing to jump into it. Oh, here we are. Yes, we have one more person jumping in post-race. XL Flavor joins the party. Flavor, go ahead, include your audio. A very interesting weekend for you. X3, you come home 8th. Very respectable run. You decide late in the day, hey, let's go ahead and run the X2 race. You do even better here. You come home 6th. Very strong. What do you have to say about your weekend thus far here at Singapore? Flavor, can you hear me? Flavor, are you there?
Yeah, can you? Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Go ahead and
yes.
include
You
your
hear me?
audio. 8th place in X3. Yes, I hear you now.
Yeah,
8th place in X3, 6th place in X2. What do you have to say about your run over this weekend?
I'm amazing. It's on time. On time. Amazing. No. Yeah, it was just a good run today. I should have done this earlier, and I spam in X3, which cost me a bit, and then had a little bit of incident towards the end of X3, which pushed me down maybe a couple of positions. I was looking for maybe a top 6 finish, but to do it here, yeah, I'm over the moon. Just a good race for me, and it just shows you again how much I'm improving, and yeah, it's good.
All right.
It's good to
Next
compete,
week,
isn't it?
Suzuka. Yeah. Next week is Suzuka. Not a very easy track to overtake at. What do you think your chances are there?
In X3.
In either X3 or
yeah,
X2.
yeah.
I don't know if you're going to run X2, but X3
Well,
obviously,
maybe,
I'm curious.
but X3, I'll be qualifying, so that'll give me a good advantage. I do like Suzuka, so we'll just see. We'll see what we can do. I'm just going to back up Schumacher the best I can in there, and then if I reserve in here or anywhere else, I'll just do my best and stay as clean as I can. That's about it.
All
really,
right,
mate.
absolutely Yep, a great pair of finishes for you. I think the only person who ran both races that did better was Zola, who came home 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, it might be.
Great
yeah,
job,
I thought
mate.
It might be a mate.
Yeah,
yeah, good. Well, done,
we weren't
Suzuka.
able to get in talk with Zola post-race here. So, anyways, great
Nice
job,
one.
mate. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Cheers, mate.
I've been your host
Thank
for today's broadcast, Insane Leader 13. Thank you, Flavor. And in a week's time, XRL will be underway at Suzuka. Until then, have a good day. I'll see you all then. Farewell.